Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down the big, game-changing ideas from some of the most influential sources out there.
You know this one, right? We've all heard it a million times. It's pretty much the golden rule for everything, from how you invest your money to how you plan your career. It feels smart, safe, responsible.
But what if I told you that this one piece of advice is actually a trap? Today, we're jumping into a really provocative idea from Peter Thiel's book, 0 to 1, and he argues that this safe approach, well, it's actually a guaranteed path to being average. So get ready, because this might just change how you see things.
All right, so let's get right into it. First, we need to understand a kind of hidden rule that really governs how success works, not just in business, but pretty much everywhere. Peter Thiel calls this the power law, but you might know it as the 80-20 rule. And this isn't just some business school theory. He calls it the law of the universe. Just think about it for a second. The biggest cities are way, way bigger than all the small towns combined. The most powerful earthquakes release more energy than all the smaller ones put together. The point is, success isn't spread out evenly. It's exponential.
You know, we're all kind of wired to expect things to balance out, right? Like a bell curve. A few big losses, a few big wins, and most stuff falling somewhere in the middle. But reality? It's so much more extreme. In a power law world, one single winner doesn't just do well, it does better than everything else combined.
And this chart just nails it. It shows that huge gap between how we think returns work, that gentle slope, and the brutal reality, which looks more like a cliff. A single investment can go 10x or even higher, while pretty much everything else just flatlines. This isn't just an idea. For venture capitalists, this is their everyday reality.
And this isn't just theory. Thiel talks about his own firm, Founders Fund. Their early bet on Facebook made more money than every other investment they ever made combined. And get this, their second best investment, Palantir, is now on track to outperform everything else besides Facebook. That's the power law in action right there.
So when you see the world this way, it leads to these two, well, they're pretty intense rules for investing. You can't just hedge your bets. You have to go for the home run, every single time. You have to find that one company that's such a massive success it pays for all the failures, and then some.
Just to put a number on this, the legendary venture firm Andreessen Horowitz made a staggering 312 times their initial investment when Facebook bought Instagram. I mean, that's a phenomenal win by anyone's standards.
And here is the absolutely mind-bending part. Because their fund was so huge, $1.5 billion, that incredible 312x return, well, it wasn't nearly enough to make the fund a success on its own. Thiel figured out they would have needed to find 19 more Instagrams just to break even. I mean, that is the ruthless, unforgiving math of the power law.
So that raises a pretty big question, right? If this law is so powerful, so universal, why doesn't everybody see it? How come even the experts can get it so wrong?
Well, a big part of the reason is that the power law kinda sneaks up on you. At the very beginning of a venture fund, all these young startups look more or less the same. They all have potential, but you really can't tell them apart yet.
Then, a few years go by. Things start to happen. Some companies have failed, and others are getting a little bit of traction. You can see some separation here, sure, but telling the difference between a company that's doing pretty well and one that's about to explode exponentially, it's still almost impossible.
But then, you wait a decade and boom, the picture is crystal clear. Your portfolio is in a nice mix of winners and losers. It's one, just one, absolutely dominant investment, and then everything else. And the real problem is, by the time you can see this clearly, it's way too late. The most important decisions were made years and years ago.
And there's another reason it stays hidden. It has to do with how we're all taught to think, right from grade school. We're trained to build a diversified portfolio of skills. Get good grades in every subject. We are not trained to make one single concentrated bet on something unique and hard.
So what's the takeaway here? It's that if you want to find one of these huge power law opportunities, you're just not going to find it by following the herd or listening to conventional wisdom. You have to find what Thiel calls a secret. He says the path to this kind of exponential success is by discovering these secrets. And what's a secret? It's an important truth about the world that very few people know about yet. It's hard to find, but not impossible.
Okay, let me break that down. Think of it this way. A convention is the easy stuff, things everybody already believes. A mystery is the impossible stuff, things we probably can never figure out. But a secret? A secret is in that sweet spot right in the middle. It's a hard problem, but it's solvable, and most people have just completely overlooked it.
The thing is, as a society, we've kind of stopped believing that secrets even exist anymore. And Thiel points to 4 big reasons why. We're obsessed with taking tiny, safe steps. We're terrified of being wrong and alone. The people at the top are comfortable and don't want to rock the boat. And we all kind of assume that in this globalized world, if a secret were out there, someone smarter would have found it by now.
I mean, just look at what happened to a company like Hewlett-Packard. It's a perfect cautionary tale. Back in the 90s, they were a machine of invention, and their value shot through the roof. But then they stopped. They stopped searching for secrets and got obsessed with branding, rules, and office politics. And their value just collapsed. They lost faith in finding those hard truths.
Okay, so let's bring all of this home. What does this actually mean for you, or for me, or for anyone who isn't a venture capitalist? Well, it means we have to start thinking about our own lives in a totally different way.
Because here's the thing. You can't diversify your own life. You can't have 10 different possible careers on the back burner just hoping one of them pans out. You have to really think hard, make a focus bet, and commit to that one thing that actually has the potential for that power law type of success. So Thiel leaves us with this one single powerful question that you have to ask yourself. And every correct answer to this question is, by definition, a secret. It's an opportunity hiding in plain sight that could be the foundation for something huge, whether you're starting a company or just deciding which one you should join.
Look, we live in a world that is constantly screaming at us to diversify, to hedge our bets, to play it safe. But what this idea really forces us to confront is that the biggest risk isn't betting big and failing. The biggest risk is diversifying yourself into total mediocrity. So the real question is, what hidden path will you take?